Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with Kevin. Welcome back everybody. I missed everybody last week. As you all know, I took the week off so that I could focus on upcoming shows and putting some new content together for you. For the podcast. And I'm really looking forward to all of that coming together. And things went well. Things went well during the week, and I got a lot done. So I hope that you enjoyed last week's episode, which was the rerun of Sound City Workshop. And like I had said before, those were the only episodes of Sound City Workshop before the podcast got shelved and was taken down. And, you know, it's really funny how things work out in life, because when we had originally put up the Sound City Workshop podcast, we didn't get a lot of interest in it. And that's why the show came down after only 3 episodes. And you know, we just kind of felt like we weren't going to put the time into it if people weren't going to listen. And instead of giving it 6 weeks or longer to see if things would pick up, we just kind of bailed on it and just got out of it and said, we're not going to do this. But the funny thing is, we got hardly any interest in that podcast, but you would not believe the interest that came in through text and through email. Most of it was email, but I got a lot of people contacting me wanting to know if we were ever planning on putting the show back up, if we wanted some assistance and possibly taking the show in a new direction and putting it back up. There was a lot of interest in that podcast. And, it's like, well, where were all these people and all of this interest, when we first put the podcast out? So it's funny how things happen. So I contacted one of the people who had contacted me about Sound City Workshop. And this is somebody who is willing to come on board as part of the production crew and the creativity crew, and maybe kind of rework that whole podcast and change things up a little bit. But, and on the other side of that coin, kind of keep it the same. So, if that makes any sense. So, there's talk of possibly doing something with that show. I've got to sit down and meet with some people and see what their plan is, their idea is. But, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? We may end up doing something with that podcast again. Who knows? You just never know. But anyways, I hope everybody is getting a good start to their week and to their day. And as for me, I have already had my first cup of coffee and I'm feeling good. And I'm just here in the podcast studio putting this together for you. So I do have some information for you today that is very exciting for me. And, I've told you all about my upcoming release on my record label, Manila Dawn Records, that we are doing a series of nature recordings. Well, Volume 2 is going to be released very soon, and we are going to be premiering that release on our YouTube channel. So please, 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 I ask everybody, if for nothing else, just do me a favor and help me out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would mean the world to me. And I'm trying to get as many hits on that page right now as I can. Things have been a little bit slow, and we're working on trying to drive up the ratings on the Manila Dawn YouTube channel. So that information is in the description. Please go to our YouTube channel and see what we've got up and subscribe. But we have the in that series of nature recordings, Volume 2 is going to be available for your enjoyment on our YouTube channel on April 30th. That's April 30th of 2023, and it will premiere at 12 a.m. There is a countdown page. If you want, you can be notified. I guess it notifies you like 5 or 10 minutes before the release, and then you can kind of count down with me, and we can interact through the YouTube channel, which I think is really cool. So we can text back and forth, and people can comment and let me know what they think of it. And then now we're kind of jumping ahead here, but back in, I don't even remember. It was like 2017, maybe 2018. I went out and I shot some footage of a beautiful river flowing in Three Rivers, California. And it was just gorgeous. It was a nice day out. It was a little breezy. It was kind of warm. The river was flowing good. And I ended up shooting a nature film, which I really never thought I would do anything with. And that also is going to be premiering on our YouTube channel. And it will be premiering on 8/1. That's August 1st of 23. And it will also premiere at 12 a.m. Like I said, I'm just asking everybody to please help support me in my efforts to, bring this content to you and, to the whole world for that matter. And, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would really mean a lot to me, and I would really like to be able to communicate with my subscribers, and who knows, at some point there may even be some bonuses for subscribers. But anyways, getting into today's show, I have just been so very busy, trying to get some new content together for you. And I have been working on my album and, just promoting it and getting ready for the CD release. We are in the process of coming up with another date for my CD release party, and I spoke of that in an earlier podcast. But we're really focusing on that right now and getting some stuff done. This is something that has just taken way too long, and I really want to get this out to the public really as soon as possible. Wow, there's just so much going on, and so much for retirement. I mean, I don't even know why I bothered to retire, because I probably work more now that I'm supposedly retired. I work more now than I probably ever have. And, but I'm doing stuff that I love to do, and I'm working on film and, films that I've produced and that I've shot. I'm working on, album projects. I really, honestly, my mind, I can't remember everything that I talk about on this podcast, because I've got so much on my mind. And I'm not really sure how much I've gone into Electro Lounge, but And I'm not talking about the podcast that I had created some time back called Electro Lounge. I'm talking about the band Electro Lounge that I formed with a couple other musicians, and we are doing some lo-fi hip hop, chill kind of club music. And some of the stuff even has kind of a Latin feel to it, and that probably comes from my creative input and my side. But we're doing a little bit of everything with the Electro Lounge band, and that is something that I am focusing on right now too. And we are in the process of putting our first album together, and this album will hopefully be out this year. I've got to focus on getting my band's, my personal band's record out first, but I am working on the Electro Lounge record right now. So if you like that lo-fi kind of chill hip-hop style of music, then you may be interested in hearing some of the stuff I've done. If you, it's good for just relaxing, just, having it kind of playing in the background. It's good for studying. It's good for a lot of things, but it was never really my style of music, but it's a moneymaker. So that's why I agreed to form this band with these other musicians and put some stuff out. And it's not just all about the money. It's about the creativity and working with great people. But at this point in my life, a little extra income doesn't hurt any. So I've just got a lot going on, and we've talked about this in the past couple episodes about the weather starting to warm up now, and it's about that time of the year that I'm seriously turning some of my interest to brewing beer. And I've mentioned this before, that I'm an avid brewer, and I've been brewing beer for 30 plus years. I don't know exactly, probably close to 38, almost probably closer to 40 years. Yeah. I've been brewing beer now. And of course, a lot of things have changed in the last, almost 40 years in the brewing community. And, and today people are brewing a lot higher quality beer at home than they were, say 40 years ago. And, excuse me, and now that the weather's getting nice, I am turning some of my interest towards that. I have been working on getting my home brewery back online and getting things working and doing a couple test batches, and hopefully have some product out soon. And I think we're going to do some limited edition runs of some of our brews that are going to promote some of the artists that we work with. So that'll be kind of cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And speaking of beer and everything, has anybody been keeping up on this whole scandal with Budweiser and what's going on with Budweiser? Oh my God, man. I'll tell you what, most of you all know by this point that I am a conservative, and hey, I kind of feel like they're getting what they deserve. Was it five? I think the last time I saw anything on the news, it was like $5 billion in losses is what Budweiser is facing at this point due to their reckless endeavors. and that's really all I'm going to say about it. But I was never a Budweiser or Bud Light fan. There are so many beers of much higher caliber and quality than what has been produced by Budweiser, mass produced by Budweiser over the years. And I would rather drink quality and not quantity, because I know guys that'll just go buy a 30-pack of Bud Light and just, sit there and drink it, until they pass out. Me, I would rather drink, 2 or 3 beers from a craft brewer or a foreign brewer who, I'm not slamming all the American beers, but there are foreign beers that are just so far superior, especially when you start talking the German beers. And so, I just think everything that's been going on with Budweiser is kind of crazy. But anyways, getting back to the music, I'm kind of all over the place this morning. It's just I've got all these thoughts running through my head. And I'm not going to keep you too much longer today. This is going to be kind of a short podcast, I guess, if you will, compared to last week's podcast, which ran for well over an hour. And but I just want to say, that I did, I took off last week so that I could, continue to, come up with some great content for some upcoming shows. And like I said, everything is looking really good right now, personally and professionally for me. And I just got a lot going on. And, I'm a little nervous because I'm starting to kind of feel like, maybe I'm not going to be able to do the podcast every week because, I've just got so much going on. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to let that happen, because that's what happened with my other podcasts when they started to fail, is I just, I wasn't giving the time to the podcast that I should have. And that's when things start going downhill. But I kind of feel like that's where things are heading. And so I've got to slow down. I can't really add too much more to my plate than what I've already got. I can't do that. And on the other side of that coin, I do have a question for my listeners, because I was asked once before when I had brought up the comment that I am a brewer, and that I had possibly thought about, doing some podcast about home brewing and talking about the process and just kind of going through the process with people, maybe somebody who has never brewed their own beer, who wants to learn. So I guess my question for my listeners is what do you think about a podcast about brewing beer? Just kind of walk you through the process, kind of help you get familiar with it, and and just kind of give the listener some insight from my knowledge of brewing. And I'm not saying I'm an expert brewer. I've been doing it for years. I think I'm pretty good at it. But what do you guys think about that? And of course, it would probably be a completely separate podcast from this one. I may run, pieces of that podcast on this show, just, so people can, kind of get an idea what it's going to be about, something like that, maybe. But, I know I just said I got to slow down. I can't keep adding stuff to my plate, right? But this is something that I want to do, possibly. And it's not going to be like a weekly podcast. It may not even be a once-a-month podcast. It will probably just be a podcast that's put out whenever I have the content available. So, I mean, if I'm in the brewery and I'm putting something together and I think, hey, I've got a little extra time today, I might put something together. I mean, who knows? I might do 6 podcasts for the whole year. I might do 12 podcasts for the whole year. I really don't know. But what are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Is there anybody listening that would be interested in learning the process of brewing beer? Okay, well, I think that is going to be it for today. I have to get over to the recording studio, and I've got to start working on some content over there. And I'm thinking that next week I'm going to have some of this new content that I've been telling you about. I'm going to have it ready for you, and I'm going to have it on next week's show. So I look forward to that. I always look forward to talking to you in the morning, just having our coffee together. And, like I said before, if there's any of the listeners who are local listeners and you'd like to get together for a cup of coffee one morning, let me know. As long as it's not the morning that I'm recording the podcast, we'll be good. And I'm always interested in meeting new people, meeting up with old friends, whatever it may be. I just enjoy being social and just hanging out with some really cool people. So anyways, I'm going to let you all go so you can start your day. Be good to yourself. Be good to your neighbors. Peace. You're listening to Morning Coffee with Kevin, and I'm your host, Kevin Peterson. We'll see you next week.